Hello world, this is Random Fix, and this is the last video of a 7-part series on how to make lithium iron phosphate battery cells like this. And this video is all about troubleshooting. So if you're having some issues with your BMS, whether your voltage is jumping all over the place, it's just not charging the battery anymore, and you're just stuck, that's what this whole video is about. So I'm going to cover with you guys in depth some things that I've actually found out about these JBD BMSs and how to go ahead and solve them. And towards the end of the video, I'm also going to cover with you guys the shopping on where you get all the different parts, how you can save a bunch of money by preparing ahead, and you guys will see how I built this whole battery pack here for under $600. And this is a 280 amp hour battery pack, and it's lithium iron phosphate. Definitely stay tuned. And on the consumer version, you got to go ahead and hit that little lock. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel here. So this is the troubleshooting video here, and we're gonna go right into the troubleshooting here. The very first time I ran into a problem was when I measured the voltage at the negative and positive terminal. I was getting a good voltage. However, when I tested it at the C minus on the BMS, I was getting a lower voltage. It was reading like I think 12 volts, and it wouldn't even turn on a 10-watt LED. So then I discovered that the issue was actually in the app. So you have to make sure that discharge is on. So we have the professional version here, and we have the consumer version. And on the consumer version, you'll see there's a lock. If you click that, now discharge is on. So that's how you fix the very first issue, where you're having a voltage difference and there's really no power coming off the C minus here. And the second issue I had was, instead of having a negative when power is being consumed on the app, so it would say 5 amps was being consumed, but it would just be 5, no negative. So if you're experiencing that, what you did is you basically went ahead and switched the C minus and the B minus. And what I did on my situation, I just went ahead and just changed the cable from here and swapped out the cable up top. That fixed the problem. And if that happens to you, you want to make sure that you go through and you charge the battery correctly, as the BMS might not let you charge it. That's why we hooked up these XT90 connectors here. So if you ever run into a situation where the battery pack is only at 3.1 volts and this is showing that it's completely charged, because anytime you go through the parameter settings here, if you change the settings and choose a different category here, it'll automatically change this to 280 amp hours remaining, or whatever the capacity of your battery is. So it's really important that when you first set it up and you do the initial setup, when it asks you your battery bank size, one of the most severe issues I've actually had with the JBD BMS is sometimes the unit thinks it's full and it will be at 280 amp hours remaining, and if you try charging it, it will go and basically turn off the charging icon right there, and you cannot charge the battery anymore even though it's not fully charged. So the only way of actually going around this issue is you have to go ahead and grab your smart charger. I happen to have a Victron here, and connect it, go to the negative and go to the positive. That's why we made that XT90 connection right here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my charger here, plug it in. On the app, what we're going to do is we're going to go to settings. Make sure you're on charger. We're going to go to customs. Going to go to custom down here. Go to advanced battery settings. It says preset. Select lithium iron phosphate. Choose your maximum charging current. If I'm charging it this way by bypassing the BMS, I'm going to go ahead and charge it at a lower amperage, so it might take a little bit longer, but I charge it at 7.5, and just go ahead and let this charge up overnight until you hit the storage phase. As it's charging, you want to make sure that the balance enable is on. You have your Haltech BMS plugged in, And once the batteries are fully charged, what you're going to go ahead and do is go into function, hit reset capacity, and there you go. You'll have the 280 amp hour back, or your battery capacity. Turn on charging and you're going to be all set. I hope that was helpful, guys. I tried to go ahead and reach out to JDB for information about this. They couldn't provide info. I heard this has not happened as often with the overkill BMSs. I haven't tried it out for myself. And if you have other concerns about this JDB BMS, please go ahead and leave your comments down below, as it would really help me out and we could all share our knowledge to go ahead and solve our problems. Thank you, guys. And one of the other issues I've noticed with this battery pack is if you're going to go ahead and hook up the BMS, the wires that come with it are kind of long, so you're going to have to cut them and trim them down to size. So normally the black wire from the BMS is going to be the shortest, and you're going to make the red wire from the BMS the longest. And you don't want to go ahead and scrunch up the cables. If you do, you're going to see the battery voltage just jump all over the place. And maybe there's nothing wrong with the actual connections, but these wires can pick up interference from other wires. So whenever I run it, I go ahead and put some Kapton tape, keep it from moving around. And then the other thing I do is I make sure there's not too many wires in one section and they're not going to go ahead and cross. If you're going to go and use this in a skateboard, there's something called fly paper, which will go ahead and basically separate out the two, and that's really great. In my application here, I don't see that as an issue, but if you're concerned about that, go ahead and use fly paper, and I'll have a link to it in the video description down below as well. One other issue I've actually encountered is there's the failure to communicate with the BMS here via the Bluetooth, and I guess this problem is more of a concern on Android phones. And the reason this happens is if you see this light on right here, that means you're connected. So currently we're not connected on this battery, and if I was connected, the light would be blue. If you go ahead and just take this phone away, sometimes the phone and the Bluetooth will stay synced. So if you're going to go ahead and disconnect from it, go ahead and hit disconnect, and that will basically turn the light off so you can make a new connection. So I'm going to show you guys what it looks like when it is actually connected. And if you guys ever wanted to know, the default password is going to be 6 zeros 0000. So now we're connected, and you can see that light is on right there, so it is connected. So I hope that helps you guys out as far as troubleshooting. Really, guys, if you guys want a well-balanced battery, make sure you guys top balance, and never ever build a battery bank this big without that Heltec BMS, the 5 amp version, because when I first got these battery cells and I made my pack, I was really discouraged and disappointed with the results until I discovered that was the savior and what allowed me to keep building batteries, keep building them, and now I have enough batteries to go for a 3-4 week trip without having to really worry about turning on my alternator every single day, plugging into shore power. And I use an electric heater instead of my diesel heater now because it does the job and it works, and I like it like that. So stay tuned, guys. I'm going to show you guys on how to go ahead and shop for all the different accessories, and towards the end of the video I'll share with you guys some additional tips that I've figured out over the months of using these BMSs and battery packs. And if you guys want to check out the whole van conversion, I have it all recorded on the playlist towards the bottom here, and I'll show you guys a card at the end too. But I went ahead and did everything. So there's a deck up there, there's solar panels, we got flooring, we got 2 beds, a kitchen, swivel seats, inverters, automatic transfer switches, shore power, lights underneath, 2 ladders, 30 gallons of water, 20 gallons of gray water, water tank, blankets. It's all there, guys. I'm sure you guys will enjoy it, and hopefully it saves you guys a bunch of time. Before you go ahead and do your final assembly and put the battery in the box, one thing that I like to actually do is go through and cover up any spot where potential wire can rub over it like that over time and cause a spark. So you might want to go ahead and cover that up and then maybe put some extra insulation in that area, because over the years this is just going to go ahead and sit like that, and one day it'll cause a spark and you'll have a problem. So go ahead and take a few extra minutes, tape everything up, make sure no wire can move. If you happen to live in Northern California and you're interested in a battery setup like this, I normally have a few of these extra laying around, so don't hesitate to reach out to me and I'll hook you up with a good deal. Thanks. My biggest takeaway from building these batteries is all about the wires you use. So in the very beginning I was using about 8 gauge wire for this, and now I'm actually using 4 gauge wire. And if I really had to do this again and I got a bigger BMS, I would almost consider using 2 gauge wire, or possibly 1/0 cable or 2/0 cable, just because it makes such a huge difference and you just get a better end result depending on the size of your BMS. Go ahead and spend a little bit of extra money and get yourself some really good quality cables. And I like these tin ones better than the copper ones, just because they actually are more resistant to corrosion in the long run, and they're priced pretty much the same. And if you can get a kit like this, they're really good and you'll get a great value. It comes from anywhere from 76 to over 100 pieces, including the lugs, so you'll get a nice variety pack. Alright everybody, so now this part of the video we're going to focus on the shopping and where to go ahead and get these lithium battery cells and what to actually avoid. So this is where I get my batteries right here, and the prices fluctuate up and down, so you want to come down here and choose the right battery. And if you guys notice, they actually have batteries with studs now, so how cool is that? You don't have to make your own studs. So I would definitely go ahead and get something like this. And right now you're getting these for 425 bucks, so it's even cheaper than before. And there's always sales like this, so you don't have to keep track of what I'm showing you here. You're going to find a direct link to this in the video description down below. And you want to try to avoid batteries like this. And here's the thing, I know this probably has a few more amp hours, but if you actually look at the cost difference, you're going to be really disappointed to find out this is twice as much. So I'd rather get 2 of those batteries that I showed you in the prior screen than get one of these, and you're going to have a much better experience. And the nice thing is, even if some of your batteries don't pull full capacity, you're going to be able to go ahead and utilize 90% of them. And honestly, I'd rather get 90% at $400 than to get 100% at $1,000. And for your BMSs, I'm going to have this link down here. So this is where you get the BMS. So I recommend either the 100 amp version right here or the 150 amp version. And both of these do have Bluetooth and low temperature sensors. So you're going to be good either way. And you want to make sure to choose the 4S model. And this is going to be your secondary BMS here. And the nice thing is you can go ahead and get this shipped from China and pay $4.05 for shipping. Or you can get free shipping and get it for 20 bucks, and it might be a little faster. It really depends on your time limits. So you might want to order from China if you want to save a few dollars. And anytime you're ordering anything from China, especially the batteries, it may take up to 3 months. So normally the BMSs and the secondary BMSs arrive within about a month. However, the batteries are going to take 3 months. And this is that same exact BMS right here, but now it's on Amazon, so I'll have this link too. If you really need it right on the spot, you can pay 40 bucks. And I also have the Victron charger here. This is the one I highly recommend, and it's a 30 amp with 3 connections, so you can charge up to 3 different batteries at once. They all have to be the same chemistry, and it has Bluetooth, so it's constantly updating, and it's going to give you the best features I've seen on the market. And it works with flood acid batteries, AGM batteries, lithium ion, lithium iron phosphate. So this is exactly the charger you want. And if you want to save a little bit of money, you could also get the 15 amp version right here. This is the battery shunt that I used. Don't get tricked into paying more for one of these other ones. This one right here can handle 500 amps, not 500 amp hours. So you could put a 3000 amp hour battery in your setup, and this is going to work. You just can't discharge more than 500 amps at once. And guys, that's a lot of power. You're never going to really use that much power at once. You're talking about 6,000 watts. So for most people, this 500 amp version right here is going to do the trick, and it's absolutely amazing. And the Bluetooth on it is flawless. And Victron also has some other Bluetooth chargers like this. I really didn't like this. I returned a few of them. I wasn't impressed. The ones that I showed you before were highly recommended. And if you want to charge your solar and run off your alternator at the same time, I highly recommend this Renogy DC50S. And you might not be able to find this on Amazon as it's no longer available here, but order this directly from Renogy and you'll be very happy. And if you're looking for solar panels, this solar panel package here from Rich Energy is the one I used, and I did try the Renogy one as well. I just liked what it came with. It came with everything that I needed. I didn't have to hassle around with it. And the solar charger that it comes with is basically garbage. So make sure you use something like I showed you earlier, which is the Renogy version, as this is really not going to do what you want and you're going to end up damaging your battery. So make sure you get something that's very specific. And the Renogy was the only product that I found on the market that handled your alternator and also handled your solar all in one package without having two different units there. And it handles splitting the load for both seamlessly. All right, guys, now that we've gone ahead and talked a little bit about the shopping and what you need to go ahead and get to get these batteries completed and operational. If you guys have any additional questions, you go to randomfixworld.com. You can go ahead and click on this and you can ask me a question and this comes over to me. And let me go ahead and finish up this video by just talking about some basic troubleshooting items in addition to what I showed you earlier and some last minute thoughts. And if there's anything else that needs to be added on to this video, I'm going to go ahead and make a part 8 for it if needed. So if I missed something, please don't hesitate to comment down below, as it would really help me and also everybody else on the channel that's looking to get their off-grid solar setup, their camper conversion setup completed, and for the least amount of money and time. Thanks again, guys. So I wanted to finish up the series with just my last couple of thoughts about this whole process as I've built out these batteries. And the number one tip is top balance. I know we've talked about this a few times. And the reason is because of lithium iron phosphate battery chemistry. The voltage really decreases very little as you go lesser in the state of charge. So let's just say you configure your battery and you've got a top balance. Well, you could go ahead and hook it up to a 12-volt charger like the way I showed you guys. Charge it up best you can to 14.2. Once that happens, hook up a digital voltmeter like this, some alligator clips, get your power supply, and crank this baby on up. But don't watch the voltage on here. Watch the voltage actually on the cells. And while this is happening, disconnect your secondary BMS and turn off the balancing function on your BMS through the app, or disconnect that BMS with the little wires, so that way the BMS and the secondary BMS aren't trying to balance this as you're trying to inject power into this. And please, please, please do not walk away as this is happening. And if you walk away from this, you're definitely going to damage your batteries. So stay active and look at this and this at the same time. And once this reaches the voltage that you want, which is normally 3.65 for top balancing, then you know you're good. Don't rely on this. Rely on this instead. And you'll find out that similar weight batteries have similar capacity. So if you have a bunch of cells, so let's just say you ordered 12 of these cells, you can group them together better. That would definitely help out. And the other thing you can do is you can check the internal resistance of the cell, but you can't use a little digital meter like this. That's definitely not going to help. You're going to need some specialized equipment to go ahead and do that. So weight and internal resistance will definitely make a difference on your battery. So put similar weight and similar resistant cells in the same pack, so that way your whole battery pack isn't suffering because of one cell. So I definitely want to thank you guys again for checking out this whole video series, and please leave your comments down below. Make sure you go ahead and use that Kapton tape very liberally, and don't hesitate to go and spend a couple of extra bucks on it. Make sure you keep each wire separate or use that fish paper. You'll find many other links for the different things that I talked about in this video, which are going to be from the Victron chargers all the way up to the panels. And I have everything covered that you want to talk about in your DIY solar setup. So definitely appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you guys soon. Thanks again. If you guys really enjoyed this video series, consider giving it a thumbs up. If it was super helpful, go ahead and give that subscribe button a visit right there and just click it, and click the little bell too if you guys want. I'm sure they won't notify you guys, but nonetheless, I really appreciate you guys, and thank you so much for all your support. Make it a great day.